708, and then Mr. Bigelow, I think, is here. Yeah, there he is. Okay. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'm proud to present Assembly Bill 29, a solution to a problem that has divided the San Gabriel Valley for too long. The bill removes the most disputed land of the SR 710 from the freeway and expressway code, 710 north between the 710 north between the 10 and the 210 freeways. It also requires Caltrans and Metro to work with the impacted communities and Cal State Los Angeles on next steps and allows land to be relinquished back to cities. For too long, the state has been trying to dictate what the local communities can and do with this area. Last year, I asked representatives of the community what they wanted for this bill, and they said they wanted the state to step aside and let locals decide, and that's what this bill will do. Caltrans is still a major player in what comes next, but they cannot ignore the community, and they cannot consider the needs of some cities, but not others. That is why it is important that the impacted communities be included in this bill process. Last year, LA Metro and Caltrans declared the locally preferred alternative to be traffic demand management, not a freeway. This is reflected in the finalized EIR. Now it is time to commit to the difficult task of working collaboratively and creatively to construct solutions that work. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay. Speakers in favor?
Mr. Chairman, members, David Jones on behalf of the cities of Pasadena and South Pasadena, two of the most impacted communities with the 710. We applaud the author for taking the steps to take this embodiment that required great community impact and massive amounts. This is 50 years that these communities have been impacted by this decision. The final decision is not only a transportation decision, but it's very largely a land use and planning decision. There's wide swaths of housing, wide spots of open land, and so the community impact and the decision that the discretion that we think the deference you should give to the communities of Pasadena, South Pasadena, and Alhambra, we would highly recommend that you respect their rights to have a locally crafted solution. Mr. Holden did listen to the communities after many, many years of divisive discussions about the bill, and the bill as it's currently crafted does represent specifically the community impact and the community needs and the community decision making that went into crafting this bill. Given the extraordinary impact on the cities of Pasadena, South Pasadena, and Alhambra, we would respectfully ask that you support the bill in its current form. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers in favor, please? How about, yes, sir. Are you in favor? Okay, go ahead, please.
Medina here on behalf of LA County, also in support. Thank you.
Okay, how about opponents? Anybody opposed to the bill? And, okay. We'll hear from Assemblymember Rubio.
Senator, but it's okay.
Senator, I did it again.
I know.
What am I doing that for?
It'll be a little while.
What's going on here?
People realize there's two of us.
I don't know.
Thank you so much.
I was thinking about your sister and I working on domestic violence.
Yeah.
And congratulations on the bill today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I have a couple of questions that I didn't get time to ask. Does this bill change the EIR in any way?
It does not.
Okay, it does not. Going into this, I had many concerns in particular because we sat in a meeting with Caltrans and they were very clear that if there was any changes to the EIR, they would pull funding from a lot of our local communities that have already been using the money to mitigate some of the traffic. And so I came in here having strong opposition, as many of you would know, and that's only because a lot of my communities came forward. This bill does affect my district, my area. However, I had an opportunity to speak to the author and share some of my concerns, and I want to see if the author would be willing to remove sections 3 and 4 from the bill, which speaks about the stubs. Even though it does impact Pasadena, that's one side of the stub, there's a stub that's in my community, and I do agree with you that it needs to be a local crafted plan, and Alhambra's impacted. However, if, let's say, Alhambra decides to close the stub, then all the traffic would be rerouted to all the other communities. So in my opinion, it should be all the communities are impacted, not just Alhambra, but this is my side of town. I understand Mr. Holden represents Pasadena. But if the author would be willing to remove section 3 and 4 that discusses the stubs and only focuses on the actual language, focused on the Caltrans decision from last year to just codify and remove the freeway portion from the freeway system, then I would be willing to support it. But without that, I cannot. Would you be willing to do that?
That's also in addition to the committee suggested amendments. So you want to respond?
Yes. Thank you, Senator. Mr. Chair, my understanding is that the committee amendments address the sections that the senator has outlined.
Yeah,
would be
some of them
stricken
do.
from the bill. I would, with the recognition that we would kind of pick that part of it up and then work together on this next year, because certainly communities that we both represent are still concerned about process and how they'll be treated going forward, and ensuring that they're a part of some type of official engagement. I think that was what we were trying to do, but I would be willing to take that section, those two sections out, to allow just for this to focus on the State Highway Code issue of removal of the 710 between the 10 and the 210.
Well, I really want to thank you for that because, again, I've expressed my concerns very publicly, and so removing 3 and 4 really does satisfy my concerns. And just to share with anyone listening, because Assemblymember Chao and I represent Alhambra in that district, we had already convened a summit, which will happen next Friday, to engage not only Alhambra, but every single city along the corridor that would be impacted. And so we're having that next week. So I felt like we were getting ahead of ourselves. And so I will include any other cities you want me to, just to have a dialogue and make sure that we're all on the same page. But with those amendments, I would be willing to support it. Thank you.
So to make it clear, we're sections 1 and 2 remain, but the other sections would be deleted. Is that acceptable? Okay. Okay. Any other, do you have any other comments on that? Okay. Anybody else have any comments? Okay, then we will accept the author's amendment as clarified as the amendments that we're voting on in this committee. Is that clear? So we have an agreement. And are there any other comments? Would you like to close? Any other?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote, and I look forward to working with the senator moving.
Thank you. Okay, can we, if we have no comments, you have any more?
No, and I do want to recognize, I'm sorry, and I should have said that earlier. I know, Mr. Holden, you've been working on this for a very long time, and I can only imagine your community is as frustrated as my communities because it's been going on for a long time. And because I know it's been an issue, I also voted a few months back to put the freeway to rest. And so this just helps solidify it so it doesn't come back. And so, you know, I do want to commend you for all the work you've done. I know it's been years, and I know our communities are done with the freeway. So hopefully we can move forward, and I'm happy to sit down and talk about how we can bring support to our city so they feel supported as it pertains to the decision-making with Caltrans. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion for approval as amended. Okay, we have a motion. So we'll call a roll, please.
This is Assembly Bill 29 by Assemblymember Holden. The motion is due pass as amended and refer to the Appropriations Committee. Senator Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Bates?
Aye.
Bates, I. Dolly? Dolly, I. Dodd? Dodd, I. Galgiani? Galgiani, I. McGuire? Morrell? Morrell, I. Roth? Roth, I. Rubio? Rubio, I. Skinner? Stone? Umberg? Umberg, I. Wachowski.
We have 9 votes in favor. Thank you, Assemblyman. Mr. Frazier, Chair Frazier is here, and he has AB 708.